So yeah, look at, wow! Visit TheRetroFuture.co.uk to find all the links you need. I bought another watch a little while ago. I was given this really cool Super Mario Bros. 3 watch by Xeon, and I really like it. I think it's a really sort of 90s looking device. I just like the blocky design, the colors. I mean, it looks really smart. I like the fact that it still has like a Nintendo logo, despite the fact that it's obviously not made by Nintendo. Obviously, they've licensed this product, which makes it, I don't know, a Nintendo piece of memorabilia, and you know me, and you know this channel, I like Nintendo stuff. I managed to pick up another one, although this is Tetris, which is a slightly more fun game than Super Mario Bros. 3 when it comes to playing it on a small 1-inch screen. So I picked this little thing up for the grand total of $16.99 and $2.99 postage, which isn't really that bad. Obviously, it's very dirty. That is a no-brainer. You can see the difference there in the colors of the buttons. There's a heck of a load of dust underneath the screen. And then the other thing wrong with it is the fact that it doesn't actually work. It doesn't, you know, respond when you press the buttons. So yeah, none of it actually works, which is a big shame because I want it to work. I'm going to take all of these screws out of the back and see what the condition is like underneath. All right, so let's take the back cover off and just make sure we don't lose the little screws. On the back of this thing is a tiny little speaker, and obviously another thing we're not getting from this is sound. So we're gonna have to try and figure out why. I'm not sure that we are gonna get this working because that looks like it's pretty oxidized or something, but yeah, we'll give it a little go. Whatever's happening, that spring is very bent, so we're gonna have to try and reshape that slightly. So taking the battery out, and underneath there's no corrosion, which is a huge relief. In fact, this battery is probably brand new, so we'll definitely put that back in at the end. So let's go ahead and disassemble the watch a little bit further. So this little metal bracket now comes out, and these two springs here are actually for the buttons that are either side of the Nintendo watch. So whatever button technology they're using down there, whether it's a little contact switch or if it's a membrane and a pad, we're going to need to clean that because it's obviously not working at the moment. So now we should be able to lift this little bracket off. I'm going to just put my screwdriver under here, and it does come off, which is nice. Although it's bringing the actual motherboard with it because that spring is catching on it. So we're definitely going to need to try and have a look at that. All of this stuff seems to be in pretty good condition, although it must be said that there is some sort of a liquid up here, which is a little bit concerning. Hopefully as well with this macro shot, you can see the amount of dust underneath the screen, and in the wrist strap there's quite a lot of dirt, but that's obviously understandable because this watch would be pressed up against someone's wrist, and so that dirt that we're looking at is a build-up of sort of congealed sweat, which is lovely. We can lift this motherboard out now, which is probably going to be done by tipping it over, I would say, and then maybe pushing the buttons out. There we go. And the nice thing about this is we can just chuck it in the sink in some hot water. Look at all of the dirt that is under there. That is grotty. The contacts underneath this little membrane aren't in too bad condition. They're definitely oxidized though, and that is obviously why this thing is not working. This button membrane is very nasty and very dirty. So probably what we're going to do is give this whole board a clean with some isopropyl alcohol. We need to clean the screen as well because it's really dusty. And then we'll put all of this other stuff in an ultrasonic cleaner, mainly just the membrane actually, just to see if we can shift some of that dirt off there. And it should be okay to reassemble. There's a load of dust all over my table now. So yeah, this thing is surprisingly dirty for such a small thing. What we shall do now is take a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol and just give the whole motherboard a clean. As I mentioned, it is very dusty on the screen there, and there's quite a lot of corrosion on the button contacts. So be very careful. You don't need to scrub too hard, but with this amount of corrosion and dirt, we are probably going to want to give it quite a little bit of pressure. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. You should actually be able to just lift this little screen off as well, which will mean that we can give everything a thorough clean underneath. So about 25-30 minutes later, it has actually removed some of the dirt from the sides of the little membrane, but I'll finish it off with a Q-tip and some isopropyl. For the most part inside, we're looking a little bit cleaner, but again, I'll just finish that off with the isopropyl alcohol. After that, we'll be good to reassemble the whole... There goes the battery. We'll be good to reassemble the whole thing, and hopefully it will still work. Oh man, look at the state of the inside of that. That is revolting. I guess it is sort of nice though to think how, you know, how used and appreciated this watch was. This is obviously being worn on the wrist for some substantial amount of time because it's yeah, really, really gross. So that is it for the body. Really happy with how that has actually turned out. We'll give it a once over with some Mr. Sheen at the end. Let's move our focus now onto the little membrane here. I'm going to give it a clean with some isopropyl in between the membrane, which isn't really going to make a huge difference to its playing ability, but more so just for sort of peace of mind that it is nice and clean. And then we'll flip it over and clean the contacts underneath. See all the grime that's come off of the membrane. So let's give the underside contacts a clean with the IPA, and that should give us a really good connection when it comes to actually playing this thing. And obviously the buttons are really small, and there's quite a lot of travel on the membrane itself, so we're gonna need to make sure that it's a nice sensitive connection, otherwise it probably won't play properly. So now it's time to reassemble the whole thing. We'll start off with this screen. Just set that down in there like that. The next thing to put in is these tiny little strips of sort of conductive rubber that just goes either side of the screen like so. And we'll just align that. Then we take the tiny, tiny, tiny little screen sort of graphic backgroundy piece and just set that down in between the rubber membrane. And yeah, that's looking pretty decent. Okay, we'll pop this down now as well. It can only go in one way, so just slot it in there like that. Right, now it's time to drop the actual motherboard in, the thing that makes this whole little thing work, and just set it down like so. Okay, this is decent. I'm now going to try and sort of manipulate this little spring back because obviously it's really badly bent. Okay, well now it's just completely broken off. Uh-oh. I mean, there's still a little bit left, so hopefully that's still going to make a connection, but that is bad news. Well, we'll keep going, but it might not work now, although it wasn't really working fully before, so if that's for the sound, then yeah, we can definitely say goodbye to ever getting sound. Now, this little piece is a bit of a nightmare to put in from memory on the Super Mario 3 watch. Oh my god, this metal piece is such a nightmare to get back in again. Have we done it now? Yes, I think we have. Okay, quickly, we need screws. Screws, screws, screws. Decent. Right, that is everything for the most part back in again. I'm just going to go through and put all of these screws back, and then we'll chuck the battery in, pop the back on, see what happens. So for the moment of truth, I put all the screws back in. If we pop the battery in again now, turn it over, yes, it still works. This is good. So now when we place the back piece back on again, we fixed the sound. Yes, okay, so it was just that tiny little spring. Unfortunately, I don't have any microfiber cloths left, so we're gonna use this, which is less than ideal. Grab some of this and just spray it all over because we love a good bit of Mr. Sheen. And this will not only leave it smelling absolutely divine, but it will actually polish some of the plastic as well because it is a surface polish. Already got loads of gunk off of the strap there. amazing. Well, that is going to conclude this video. Look at how amazing that looks. I absolutely love it. I've managed to set the time on it, which was pretty simple. You just press set and then you adjust the hours and the minutes with this one. And then when you press mode, the game will start. So let's have a tiny, quick game at Tetris. So I think to start, you just press any button. Our speaker is obviously working quite well. Not sure why there's a little row at the top there that seems to be sort of always there. But yeah, obviously it's a smaller actual sort of board. I don't know if that's the right word. It's a smaller screen, so there's less lines to actually fulfill. But this one rotates it. This one obviously moves it left, and that one goes down. And then this one is to go right. So it's a really, really intuitive little thing, and it works very nicely. You've got the levels up here as well, which is just authentic to the original game for the Game Boy. I am absolutely in love with this thing. Tetris is one of my all-time favorite games, and to now be able to play it on my watch, I'm not sure how easy that's going to be to play, but yeah, super happy with how this thing has turned out. For 20 quid as well, I would pay that all day, every day. I think 20 quid's a pretty good price for that sort of thing. I see these things go for like up to 50 and sometimes. So yeah, look at wow. So yeah, look at that. That looks pretty sweet. I would love to get the Zelda one. There's also a Star Fox one. If anyone has the Zelda one and it's broken, please send it to my PO box. I would absolutely love one. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing Christmas and a New Year's. Thank you for everything that you've done for me in 2019, and hopefully you'll continue to watch me into 2020. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.